Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the No Excuses podcast. I'm full of excuses because I've not been here for 3 weeks now, and with every intention I wanted to podcast last weekend and it didn't happen for various reasons. So welcome back. If you're a long-term viewer, thank you for sticking with me, and if you're a new subscriber, hello and welcome. Today is the 22nd of November, it's a Thursday, and I've got quite a busy week this week, and I'm not getting done half the things I need to do, or should be doing. Went out Monday, yesterday, and I'm out again tomorrow. So I've got to fit my podcast in before I start making even more excuses as to why I haven't been around. Everything I talk about in the podcast should be listed down below, and I put direct links to everything that I can think of to give you. Is there anything I miss, please just contact me and I will get in touch with you about it. Or if you've got any questions, I love to hear from you, as you well know. I'll just remind you that we've got 2 make-alongs running in the podcast. The first one is something new in 22, and that will end on the 30th of November. If you haven't got your, that's Tuesday, so if you haven't got your entries in by then, please get them in. And that's any new technique, any new yarn, very, very loose criteria there to put your entry in. And the second MAL, which has not long started, a couple of months ago, is the Jump Along for 2022, which will run to the end of March, and that is any adult size garment with sleeves, apart from if you've chosen to knit one of these new modern vests. It might be an old pattern, but it's like a sleeveless top that will go over a blouse, t-shirt or whatever, not something to sit underneath. You get me meaning. So yes, the hashtags are listed below. If you want to put it on Instagram, you can enter via Instagram, Ravelry, or email me. Okay, the more the merrier. The prize, as usual, for the main males will be a bag made by me, wonky-ish, and some yarn. Okay, thank you. So let's get into what am I wearing. Well, you've noticed, haven't you? It is my Amma jumper. La la! I only started this in January. Tom's just helped me put it on, because I had the house jumper on before, the one I'd worn the last time I podcast. Because I wear them every day when I'm not going out and stuff. So I thought I'd better put this on because I cast it off the other night, and I can already feel that the cast off is probably a bit tighter than it should be at the bottom. But I can't show you that. I'll show you photographs. I had this last time and I showed you. It's a lovely pattern by Maddie Harvey in double knitting. It's got a lovely knot design on the yoke in a contrast colour. Now in Maddie's original design, she uses this contrast on the arms and on the bottom of the body. I haven't done that because I only had one skein of this, and to be honest, I didn't want that look, so I've just kept it one colour for the main body. But I have added a detail on the cuff in the contrast colour. I don't know if you can see that, and I've put a little bit at the bottom. Again, I'll take a photo, but it's just a couple of rows of rib in the contrast colour. If you remember last time I said it was flipping annoying, I'll tell you that. And it kept, as soon as I took it off the needles, or even before then as I was casting off, it was flipping. And I've done an Icelandic cast off, which took me a while, delicate operation to try and undo it, because it's quite fluffy yarn. And I undid all the little bits I've been messing about with around the hem, and I've just done a straight rib for about 7 or 8 rows, I think, and it's holding its own. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. The cast off, standard cast off, you just pass the one over the next one, the next one, the next one. Because when I tried to do stretchy ones, that's when it was starting to flip and starting to sort of almost flare on the last row. So even though I'd gone down needle sizes. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. I might wear this out tomorrow. I'm going to Merry Hill with Elaine. It's Black Friday, and we're going to go specifically to look at Elizabeth Arden and see what they've got on offer with their skincare stuff, which I quite like. It is very expensive usually. So let's fingers crossed, you know, something I might be tempted to buy going all that way. So yeah, this is the Arrow jumper, and it feels very warm. It's knitted in, let me look at this because I never get the pronunciation right. Well, I don't even know if I do anyway, but it's Scylfing. So it's Scylfing. DK, it's a BFL Gotland. I think it's a 75-25 mix from Kethen at Triskelion. And I say it's lovely. It's a very bouncy yarn, but it's quite fluffy. I don't know how it's going to wear on me, but I'm quite happy to try it. I've got other BFL Gotland mixes, and I've got what's the Blossom jumper is Poledale, I think, but anyway, and that's pilling a bit. I wore my Blossom jumper yesterday, still haven't taken photographs of me in it. So annoying, and a bit the weather was a bit better when I left the house, and by the time I got back in the evening, couldn't take photographs because it got too dark and it was raining again. We've had a lot of rain this week. I got soaked, well, not soaked, but I got very wet again on Monday. I should be shrinking, and yeah, should be. So yeah, what am I wearing? And another jumper off the needles. I need to weigh it and see what meterage it's got in it. I decided at the end of the day I didn't mind the neck. If you recall, I was getting a bit annoyed because it was covering the last row of colour, but you can actually see it as it rolls over. So and the neck looks alright, doesn't it? Just about to see my t-shirt to it. It's not right up to my neck, not itching me or anything. So yeah, all in all, very pleased. Very easy yarn to work with. It gets a bit fluffy when you're trying to undo it, but I was trying to undo an Icelandic cast off, and that is quite involved anyway, so I have to be very, very carefully tease it apart. I need something to do, don't I? I'm retired. I don't have anything else to do after all. So this is finished, and my other finished item, but not blocked, partly mainly because of the weather, is my Ambershore shawl, and this is by Inese Sang, I-N-E-S-E Sang, and it's a triangular shawl that is quite big. Although I got Tom to put it around his shoulders, and I might put a picture of it up, bearing in mind it's not been blocked. And it's got rows of bubbles in contrasting colours. So it's done in 3 colours, and each colour has its own little section of stocking stitch, and then you've got the 1 by 1 sort of colour changes, and then you've got bubbles, and it's cast off. Again, I did a standard cast off because I'd done something different, and I just did a couple of rows of rib, which is what I don't think I did as many rows of rib as the pattern called for because I was running out of yarn. The yarn is merino, cashmere and nylon from Alison of Biff Sugar Yarns. Colour number 1 is maple, and it's a beautiful mix of autumnal colours. Colour number 2, I've got this in a single as well if I haven't already used it in something, is called Golden Fleece. And then colour number 3 is a very, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a beautiful mix of reds, and it's called Garnet. So yeah, nice, a very uncomplicated pattern, I thought. There are some rows of 2 strand colour work, and what I tend to do is hold one in one hand, do my English flicking, and then in my left hand I do continental. And that meant I had to do pearl as well because it's knit flat. And what I ended up doing on, I probably said this last time, but at the risk of repeating myself, which I probably often do, the I did a one pass on in one colour and another pass in another colour, and it doesn't seem to. So I did one row of purl in the dominant colour, because it does tell you which one to use as a dominant colour. Keep that at the bottom, and then I did the same row in the other colour, and it doesn't seem to have made any difference to the tension of my work. So I might use that again instead of having to do continental purl, because I'm not a continental specialist. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. It needs blocking, as I say, but I haven't got the space, and we haven't got the weather to do it outside. If we get a cool, dry day, then I will give that a go. I'm just going to pop this back. Oh no, I won't put it in a plastic bag because I've left it over there. So that's 2 things finished. Doing well. And then, last time I saw you, I showed you my 13 Days of Halloween, those beautiful yarns that I'd got from Beth of Beehive Yarns. Now, they were 20 grams DK, so you've got less meterage. I mean, same weight, but less meterage than if I'd had minis in the 4-ply. But I decided to go for the DK, something different. And I started to do a cowl, just garter stitch with and doing 2 colours at once, like two rounds in one colour, 2 rounds in another, and it was looking really, really nice because the colours do flow, even though they end up looking quite different. Excuse the crackling. And then I didn't like that. I didn't like the way it was going. I thought it was going to be long enough, really, because I wanted to do a Mobius loop, and I didn't think I was going to get. I didn't want it to be any narrower to start again and do it any narrower. So I undid that, and I started doing a plain, simple, triangular shawl in garter stitch, because double knitting in 100% merino is nice and squidgy, especially in garter. But I gave up on that as well. I am having decision issues. So what I've done instead is I've started doing little teeny tiny 2 round granny squares. I'll just show you a couple of them because they're very, very pretty. I'll show you a couple of the blues. So I get about 8 squares to a 20 gram mini, 8 or 9, and then if I haven't got enough to finish a square, I'll just start the next one so the colours flow. And I'll show you that one. So I've got all these little squares, and I'm going to make myself a lap blanket because I've got a big whited square blanket that I use on my lap every night, but I didn't do it as sort of a definite. It's only just rectangular because it's 1 square, and mine are only sort of 33 stitches, I think, so they're only small squares. It's only 1 square longer than it is wide. It's a bit awkward when you think, which way do I want to put it? It doesn't really make a difference. But what I thought I'd do with these is I'd get some fabric and make a quilt and put the crocheted squares on the top, and I'd attach it in such a way that I can detach it for washing. Mum ordered some batting, very lightweight batting, to do like a thermal curtain for the winter between her kitchen and where she's got a dining table. They've got a through lounge, and she hasn't got a door there, so thought put something up there on a pole, just winter months, she can take it away in the summer. But ended up with them having to order by the meter, so she's got a bit left over than she needs, and I told her I'll have that, I'll take it off her hands for her. I'm very gallant like that, and I'll use that in a quilt and then put the wool squares on top of it. So yeah, a little quilt. I can see in my head what it's going to look like, but how I put it all together, who knows. I've not done quilting before. I've done a little bit of quilting on my bags, but not very accurate, so I need to keep practicing and up my game a bit. So there you go. So that's what I'll be doing. I mean, really, what I should do is some English paper piecing and make it really nice on, so that the back is like squares or hexagons, and it mirrors the front a little bit with the little crochet squares. But I'd like to have it for this winter and not in about 3 years' time. So that's my plan at the moment. Obviously now I've cut all these squares, when I've made them I won't be changing my mind what about I'm using the yarn with. Yeah, I am suffering from too much choice, very much so at the moment. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to go and grab my incoming. Well, that was interesting. The cable from my ring light decided to hook itself around the bottom of my foot and I couldn't get it off. Oh, that was annoying. Anyway, I was on Instagram. Oh dear, this is incoming, by the way. I was on Instagram, which is, you know, I do visit several times a day. And I'd gone into the general search and I saw this nice picture of these two ladies. They're wearing woolies, so I clicked on it and it was Old Maiden Aunts. And I know they've been around for a long, long time. And I liked what they were saying on the narrative, and I went and looked at their website. You know what's coming. And they've got some lovely yarn. It's rusticy, although they do dye to order merino, etc. But so they've got a dye to order section, and then they've got some that they've already dyed up, or you can order them, but there's limited quantity because of their local wool to them. So there's a limited amount of the flock that they've had the wool from. So Old Maiden Aunt, and that's and this is their Uist wool, and basically it's from a local flock. I need to look at what the content is. I think it's Shetland. It's a bit toothy, but this is the Maca. I think that's how it's pronounced. Somebody Maca. I think it's like marsh or heathery land. And look at the colours in that. I don't know if you can see. This is a Maca colourway, and it's a double knit. And I've got 500 grams in this. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to knit with it. Okay, I've bought it as a last ditch attempt at buying something before I stop buying. I am going to stop buying apart from one yarn club. I wish I'd ordered 6 of these now, because knowing me, 500 is a bit on the short side, although I could do something. Anyway, we'll see. I start thinking about these things and I go down a rabbit hole, and then I get myself all in a tiz because I can't make a decision about what to do with it. But it's lovely and it's nice, and I think it'll be soft enough for me. I'm not particularly sensitive, but I'm really impressed with the colours and the skeins, because I ordered them all at once. They do look, you know, all alike, so that's very good. But I couldn't leave it there, could I? And because they've got some dye to order yarn, I chose some Shetland, and I think I've had 2 in 1, which I can't remember which one I've got 2 of. But this is 100% Shetland fingering in mother's milk, and it's got purpley heathers. It's mainly a brown, almost tan colour, but like a faded tan. I need to put that back together again in a minute. And this one is with a kiss, and this is more purpley. Now, when I chose them, bearing in mind I looked at the colours and then I chose the yarn that I wanted them dyed onto, there was a higher contrast on the screen. So if you look at them together, it's quite a low contrast. I didn't have anything specific in mind, but I did think of a shawl or a hat, or, you know, a cap. Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's nice and soft being Shetland. So, yeah. I keep saying, yeah. I like them very much so. Don't regret buying them. They are, sort of say, the contrast isn't as great as I saw on the screen, but that's not a complaint. You take a risk when you're when you change the base to what's on the photograph. I presume it might have been a merino base. So on the, I'll put the pictures up if I can off the website and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, so that was my last splash out before I start being more sort of selective and spending less money. Because we're at a stage at the moment where we don't know what the bills are going to be like, we don't know, food's going up every week, electricity, you know, everything's going up rapidly, so I need to be more mindful about what I'm spending. And also, at the end of the day, I have got all this fabulous yarn, very little of which I'd like to get rid of, if any. I can use it for prizes, etc. There are things where my tastes have changed, or I've bought a single skein because I like, because it's pretty, and I'm happy to part with it now, which is what I've been doing with my prizes and things. But of course I've had quite a bit donated to me as well by people. So yeah, I just need to be more mindful and start using the fabulous yarn that I've got, and I know you'll help me with that. So that's that. And again, I'm going to cut this and I'm going to show you my latest plan. Actually, I thought I'd show you the fabric I've just bought. Again, I need to stop buying fabrics because I've got more than enough. I've got nowhere to store things. Keep saying I need a really good sort out, and I do. From Empress Mills, I bought this heather coloured, I think it's cotton. It's like a furnishing fabric, a lightweight furnishing fabric. It's got a little bit of slub to it, and it's like Tom's outside feeding me. I've asked him to put some worms under the acer because the birds have been back on our fat balls today for the first time in weeks. So I've asked him to chuck some worms on the floor, you know, mealworms. And he doesn't like touching them again. Like that. So yeah, so this is like a heather colour, and actually that might work. I think it's probably a bit thick to be my quilt backing. Yeah, it is, because it's looks like it's blackout fabric. I've only just noticed that. Look, it's white on the back. Oh well. Might be using that for a bag or something. Strong tote bag might be nice, is it? Didn't realise that. I don't remember it saying that on the website, but it certainly is backed with something that feels a bit, not plasticky, but near. Anyway, so let's just ignore that bit. I bought that, and then I bought, I can't resist Lewis and Irene in particular. This is from their Evergreen selection, and there's the lovely sort of ivy leaves in almost a dull lime, some squirrels or squirrels, and mushrooms, toadstools and hedgehogs on a cream background. They do these in different colours, and then I chose that colour to go with these, and actually it goes quite well with that bag material. So I could use that as the base and make a big strong tote bag. I think I've only ordered 1/2 metre of these, and I've got, let me just back up slightly, as well as those I ordered a fat quarter set that goes with these from Lewis and Irene do blenders called Bumbleberries, and I've ordered that. So it's a brown, a rust, a green, a lighter rust, and a sort of an ivory rather than a cream. So they will go really nicely. I mean, particularly if you look at those and those, they look really nice together. As I said before, I like buying nice fabric. I don't want sort of, I don't like to see things uncoordinated, just me. So that's my other incoming. I hope this is recording okay, you know, because as I said before, I can't see the back now. I've got the GoPro. I think the quality is better, and the sound is certainly better. Sorry, Tom's just in the kitchen doing the pots. Now, now I finish this hammer jumper, I'm knitting on the Fleur East, but when I've got all the crochet squares done, so I'm doing in the evening, the Fleur East will move up to being the evening knitting. I've got a tendency to fall asleep more in the winter apparently, in the evenings, so I need another daytime project. And what I've decided to do is another jumper before I do a couple of cardigans, and I'm going to do the Felix jumper by Amy Christophers of Savoury Knitting. That's her brand name, isn't it? And I have got some greens from Emma of Yarnworthy, and it's a worsted weight or Aran weight jumper, I think, that was done in Let Lopi. So I'm going to use two colours of the, I'm going to use two strands of the 4-ply and one strand of Suri alpaca. This is the Eat Your Greens, and I think that might be the Eat Your Greens as well. I bought a set of 4 off her, like a fade. I don't know if it was last Christmas or 2020. So I thought I'd do double strand of that to start with, which is the darkest one, lovely bottle green, and then I'll do stop one of the strands and start this one, which is very, very slightly lighter. You can see it's a little bit, it's showing a little bit of white almost on there, but it's giving a slightly mottled thing. And again, with everything's with the Suri alpaca. And then I did the next one in the sort of series that she gave me was this one, and it's got beautiful colours, and it's got the green. It's quite a lot lighter than that one, which is the second colour, and it suddenly introduces a lot more colours, which is fine because actually when I say I'm going to start with it, I'm going to start at the neck, so I'm going to start with the lighter colours, so you know what I mean. At the bottom will be doesn't matter which way the pattern goes, does it? And then I've got this to merge with that, and then it'll stand on its own for a bit. But when I was winding it up, it's got grey, yellow, and several different greens in it. I decided that I wouldn't use this because of all the colours, and I didn't want them to be too smothered with the Suri alpaca. So instead I'm going to use one of the 3 skeins I bought recently from her, which is Garden Part. I don't know, I'll have to put the names on the screen because there are various things about Garden Party, Eat Your Greens and Secret Garden, and I'm getting lost. So there's that one which I'll have because it's got blues and things in it, and that's going to be the colour near the neck. And I've missed out, not on purpose, the middle colour that's going to join that one. So that's the, coming up from the bottom, that'll be the 3rd colour. I am useless at this, aren't I? So that'll be the 3rd colour. So we start with that one, go into that one, then that one, and then from there we'll move into that. And then you notice I've done all these hand winding. I'm not keen on yarn cakes. I'm going off them a bit because they doesn't matter whether you use them from the inside or the outside. If you use hand wound balls, I can put them in my yarn bowl if I haven't got other junk in it, and they just roll around quite nicely then. So yeah, so I'm going to keep this one, this more brightly coloured one, to go with the other skeins because I've got 2 more of this, and I've got 2 of these, which is like an even, it's not dissimilar to that. It's a more, this is brighter, really, got brighter. It's like my balls are falling off the table. This one's called Garden Party. So yeah, so I'm going to I shall be using at some point in the future this, that, and the other ones at that, and I'll do a cardigan with that as well. If you kept up, write to me and I'll send you a prize. I'll get myself confused. You can see why it happens. I've just got to shove this back in here, otherwise I'll run over it, it'll fall on the floor. So I'm glad I've made a decision about what I'm doing with the first lot of green, because I was driving myself up the wall and endlessly looking at patterns, thinking, well, I've got my own Aran book, haven't I, of patterns, the patterns book, that I could you know, sort of use and add my own stitch to, my own stitch pattern to, because this will be plain knitting because of the suri and all the variegation in the yarn. I don't want pattern on top of that, apart from the Felix comes with a pretty raglan, doesn't it, a lace raglan type of thing. So I need to get this on the needles. Now they're all finished winding all 4 skeins of the suri alpaca, and I shall get on with that and we'll see how it goes. I hope I've got enough. I've got 4 balls of the suri. I'm not going to do the biggest size. I think I'm going to do the second to biggest, because what I've found is if I try and knit to my size, like I've said before, it ends up humongous on me, and I think it gets too big around the body. So as long as it's a jumper with a relative amount of ease, I've got pictures here, I've printed it out, but let's say to be worn, oh no, the picture is showing me 7 inches of positive ease, and it measures 57. The biggest one is 57 round the bust. Well, I think I've probably got slightly more yarn with 2 strands of 4-ply and the suri. I think that might produce a slightly thicker yarn overall than the loopy. I could do a swatch. I should do a swatch, shouldn't I, really? But it says here, you know, it's worked at an open airy gauge. If substituting yarn, look for Aran or chunky weights that will match the gauge. So a loopy, you know, is quite airy, isn't it? And you can knit it quite easily at a looser or tighter gauge, and it always looks good. So there you go, Felix. Here we go. I'm not sure I'll do a Felix cardigan. I might do. I'm going to see how well I get on with the jumper. So is that it in terms of, yes it is, in terms of my plans. I started looking Ravelry at what I'd got, and I realised that, you know, I forget that I've got so much nice stuff. I've got several jumper quantities and I need to get on and use them before they go disappear. We have been sat in the dark. I've had the light on until I started podcasting about, well, it was about an hour ago when I started pithering about, and now it's blue sky mainly. Oops, what can you do? So what are we, what I've been up to. If you're leaving me now, thank you very much. That's all the knitting, such as it is. Let's talk about what I've been up to since I last spoke to you. We had our double jabs on the Saturday after I spoke to you, just after my birthday, and we both felt a bit rough actually. It was the first time we had flu jab and COVID jab, and we both felt a bit sort of, you know, like you feel when you feel a bit run down before you get a cold. I had some very spiky pain in my right arm, which I'd had the flu jab in, when I started driving, got back in the car, and that was, ow, like, what, ow, stop it, type of thing. But it went away, didn't come back. Then I met at Evesham Valley Park, I met up with Nikki, who's one of the tenors. She was my boss at work, and Dave, who we both worked with in our department. We met up with him. I hadn't seen him for about 18 months, and he was looking really well. We had a coffee, bite to eat, and then Dave went, and Nikki and I looked around the Christmas decks, and I bought a couple of things. I try not to buy too much because our little 4-foot trees already weighed down somewhat. But if I see a little bird, a glass bird, then I sometimes buy them if it's nothing like what I've already got. And I do like the Gisela Graham fairies. In fact, they had one in the shop when I went into Worcester on Monday, but they were nearly twice the price they were selling them for at Evesham, which is interesting because quite often the garden centres are pricey. But she had a red skirt on, a red velvet skirt, this particular fairy, and I don't know if I've got a red velvet skirted fairy, so I'll have to have a look when I open the decks. But yeah, then on the following week I went down to Cheltenham with Liz and met Juliet and Ali, my sister, and her partner. We had a look around. It was a nice day when we got there. In fact, I didn't put my coat on until it really started pouring down just before we left. The plan was to stay the night, but I'd cancelled the night and I cancelled the Premier Inn because I knew it would get to me, physically. So, which is good because Ju and Ali ended up having to go to a funeral on the Tuesday. They drove up to Chester, so that worked out better for them in the end. We went to a place, they've got the brewery quarter in Cheltenham, and it's got mainly eateries in it, restaurants, and we've been to the Alchemist, we've been to Mowgli, that I told you about last time, and this time we went to a place called Son of Steak. Said you can choose, Anne, and we all looked at the menu and thought it sounded nice. Not impressed overall. I thought it was expensive for what it was. So yeah, we went there, we ordered beef tacos, and they were very nice, except Juliet and Liz had got into their head that they're going to be the crispy ones, like what are they called now? They're called Santa Maria now, it used to be El Paso. The crispy tacos are already folded. But actually, they do a thing called crispy onion loaf, which is really, really nice. Basically, it's like fried onions mashed up together. And then sliced. But so it messed with their head, I think, a bit, that they weren't getting what they expected. And the beef was nice. It was like a coated fried beef. So it was chewy and it was nice, very tasty, with like a slaw without the mayonnaise, on a coleslaw without the mayonnaise. So red cabbage and carrot, and it looked very pretty, but we had one each. It came, a pack of two came, so we had one each. We ordered 2 lots. And then Juliet and I had dirty fries as well, so that had cheese and onion loaf and some bits and pieces on, and they were okay. Liz had a burger, so she had the peaky, not binder, beaky. It was chicken. Should have written all this down. So she had a proper burger, so she felt a bit more satisfied. But Ali had ordered a buttered chicken leg, and I'm not kidding you, it was that big. It was like £7. Now bear in mind, you can buy a farmer sugared large chicken for about £5 from Morrison's. So we felt that was a bit of a rip-off. We felt that for what we paid, we didn't get the amount of food compared to places like Mowgli, and the portion sizes we'd had in the Alchemist as well. Juliet and I had shared one, and it was only it was like a type of cheese, like a Philly cheese sandwich in there, and we had it with fries, and it was enough for both of us, one portion. But here I thought it was a bit mean with the portion sizes, and the menu was confusing, the way it was laid out, and I think I wouldn't go back there. And nothing wrong with the quality of food from my point of view, but I was disappointed. So there you go, Son of Steak. Go there yourself, let me know how you got on, you might really enjoy it. Then last Monday, it shows you it's been 3 Mondays since I last spoke to you, a wet met Wendy and Amanda. I've worked with Wendy or I've known Wendy for 40 years, and Amanda, I've known her for about 15 now. We all work together and we meet up. We usually go to some place like Evesham Valley. We've even been down to T-Bay, the Gloucester Services once. But we went into Worcester because we enjoyed going into Worcester in the summer. And this time we went to the Anatolian Palace, which is like a Turkish and Italian curious combination restaurant in the middle of Worcester. It rained heavily on us, so we all got wet, and we parted company a bit earlier than we probably would have done if it had been dry. We did a bit of shopping, had a walk round. We didn't stop for a drink, we just stopped at the Anatolian Palace because we didn't meet until 12. And I've been there and I've had their, I call it lambetti, lambetti, like B-E-H-T-I, something like that. And that was nice. And it said it came with cheese sauce. I thought lamb cheese, very, very nice. I can't remember what I had last time, but I thought, right, I'm going to have the moussaka. And then I changed my mind. I had falafel to start with, which was useful because Wendy had never tasted falafel. Gave her some of that and she enjoyed it. Then I chose something called et sauté, and I said to him, what is it? He said it's a lamb dish. He said it's served on in a dish, comes with rice as an accompaniment, and it looked very nice. It had peppers and onions in it, quite red, like tomato based sauce, I guess, but it didn't taste of anything, and if anything it was sweet, and I couldn't eat it. The lamb was nice, it was tender. Amanda had the same. She didn't think the lamb tasted very much. Maybe it needed frying off first, I don't know, to put an edge on it. But I ate so much of it, about half, and I couldn't finish it. It was making me feel a bit, it was too sweet for a main course. So I asked them to package it up. They packaged it up for me. I gave it to Tom, brought it home. He put it in the microwave with the rice as well. And he felt it was sweet. It was all right, but it had, he thought it might have a vinegar in it. A sweet vinegar of maybe a red wine or something. But I won't be trying it again. I won't be having that again. I've also been to Longbridge with Mum. Again, we went and had a look at the Christmas tree I fancied, 3-foot one, but I decided that there was no way I'm going to fit all my decorations on that little tree. And it's in one of those sack things, it's pre-lit, but I want to add more lights to it anyway. So I've decided we'll go with my tatty old one again this year. I bought a kitchen clock and a candle from Habitat in Sainsbury's, and bought some curries, some Marx's, and that was it really. It was cold that day, but we didn't get rained on like we did the time before, and we only just got in with the free parking. We were literally leaving with about 7 or 8 minutes to go before they could have booked us for not paying. So there you go. So that's what I've been up to. Now yesterday I went into Worcester on Monday with Wendy and Amanda, and I was supposed to have hydrotherapy on the Tuesday, but when I looked at my phone and I got back in the car in the multi-story on Monday night, Tom had written a message saying the hospital phone and said the pool's broke, whatever that means. And I was so thankful because I got wet on Monday. I knew I'd be suffering on Tuesday, and going to hydrotherapy, which I'm a bit dubious about anyway because of the effort it's going to take me, that I was quite pleased it was cancelled. So I said to Liz, because she was going to come with me and help me, are you free on Wednesday instead? So I had a day's break in between going out, and she said yeah. So we met yesterday, and she said to me, be honest with me, she said, I won't judge you, but were you telling a bit of a fib about the hospital, and did you cancel the appointment? No, I didn't. It had crossed my mind, but I didn't. It worked in my favour in the end. And I might talk to them when they phone me up and say, right, we need to make an appointment again. I might say to them, look, I need to leave it for the warmer weather because I don't think I can cope. Because I went out yesterday and I was terrible this morning. I couldn't barely move. So yeah, but it rained a little bit on us yesterday, but mainly it was cold and bright. So we walked around Worcester, very relaxed and more looking at things. Spent a small fortune in Marks and Spencer's food, and we had a nice time. In the end, we didn't have a meal. I didn't want to stop for a meal. We had a ham and cheese toastie in Marks and Spencer's, which was quite nice. Liz finished mine off for me. I had a hot chocolate and it was nice and warming. So yeah, we plodding on. We are waiting for a delivery this afternoon. Tom's popped to the supermarket early on to get some essentials, and then tomorrow I'm popping to Merry Hill, like I said, to, out with Elaine. Hopefully, if not too long, I'd like to get home, at least start home in the light. So this time tomorrow, I'm hoping I'm back in the car and on my way home. Yep, so I'll see Mom. Mom's making me a lovely green jacket. I tried it on last week and it's looking really good. So we may make some progress, but she's had quite a busy week as well. And I've been looking at maybe not boiled wool but boucle. Maybe make one out of boucle. I'm not sure whether it would suit that style, but I'll see if anybody else has made one. So enough of the waffle. What have you been doing? What are your plans? Have you made a Felix jumper? And if you have, did you like it? Do you wear it? And did you crop it or did you make it a bit longer? I think it's been designed to wear with like skirts and dresses and things. So some people have made it longer and shorter. What was the neckline like? Answers on a postcard, please. And also, thank you to everybody who's received their gifts, their bags that they bought, so they weren't gifts. Thank you for your generosity. You know who you are. And I've sent out the prizes as well. Now, don't forget that the Something New in 22 ends next week. So if you want to get a chance of winning a bag and some yarn from me, although I may not send it with the post bin as it is now until the new year. So if you're happy with that, I'm happy to post anywhere in the world for a main prize like that. So I'm going to go now. I will see you hopefully in 2.5 weeks time. Any questions, get in touch. Thank you for staying with me. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.